You know what really irks me bad? I mean, really irritates me. It shouldn't, but it does. It just really bothers me. When you're in a parking lot, whether it be at a mall or a grocery store or whatever, and you get a good spot. It just happens to be that the stars align, and you just happen to be pulling in when somebody was pulling out of a good spot. You weren't searching for it, it just happened to happen, right? And so anyway, you do your business inside wherever you're at, and you walk out, and as you approach your car, somebody pulls up either behind you, in front of you, or they just creep up on you, and they wait to see which car you're going to get in. And of course you're going to get into the vehicle that's, in a good spot. I'm not saying it's the first, but, it's definitely a good spot. And you get in that, you start approaching your car, and they stop, and they wait. And you could be loading groceries in your car, you could be, just getting in your car, maybe you got one bag, or whatever. But at that point, that was nice. Don't know if you guys got that on camera, that guy almost hit that other guy. But anyway, at that point, then you're under an enormous amount of pressure to basically get out of the parking spot and leave so that person can get in that parking spot. And it'll get worse because then they'll put on their turn signal to not only let you know that they're waiting for that spot, to let everybody else know that's their spot and they've taken it. And I've seen people get into altercations in parking lots because somebody will be sitting there for a couple minutes waiting on a spot, and then somebody else will slide right into it as if they were never even there. It's funny, but it would piss me off. But I'm not the type of person who sits and waits for a spot for an hour. But anyway, so I was at the mall yesterday. Surprisingly, it was busy. It was a Thursday, and I just so happened to be pulling up. We were going to be parking over by the JCPenney entrance, or whatever the hell they call it now. But I just happened to pull up as I was pulling by, and somebody in the very first spot pulled away. So okay, sweet, pull right in. It was one of those spots where there was a bunch of space on the right-hand side, so I was able to park over, because I usually don't like parking with a group of cars because I don't like to get doors slammed and things like that. My car dented. But it was one of those things where I had plenty of room on one side, so I was able to kind of pull over a little bit, and somebody would have to throw a rock in order to hit my car from the next car over. So we were in there for about maybe an hour or so. Got back out, and I had one bag, and as I pulled my key fob out, and of course I hit the key fob, and of course the lights, the tail lights and so on, they flash. And this person who was coming up behind us saw that, and they stopped right there. Not only were they blocking traffic that was coming from the opposite direction, but they didn't really give a shit, and they're sitting there. And I thought to myself, my wife was with me at the same time. I thought to myself, you know what? Screw this. I'm tired of this. Anytime you get a good spot, somebody's right there putting the pressure on you. Like, I got this spot. I've called it. It's mine, because you're getting in your car, so it's mine. So anyway, I got in. We got the kids all buckled up, and we're just sitting there. I didn't even start the car. We're just sitting there. And we're sitting there, and I kept looking over to my right a little bit, and that person had their turn signal on still, and they were waiting, and they were waiting. And I said, how much longer do you suppose this person is going to sit there and wait for this spot? And so we waited, and we waited. Well, I started my car, and they just sat there, and it was really amazing. It had to have been, I would say, at least 3 minutes, at least. Well, then, they finally, I heard them. They squealed their tires, and they took off. So, my wife, she's like, okay, well, they're gone now, so we can leave. And I said, no, I don't think so. And I waited another minute. They came around the bend, around the other side. They came around the corner again. And I was still sitting there. And they stopped again, and they stopped. And they kind of creeped up. And the fucking bitch, I wish that I could have gotten it on video, but I wasn't thinking about it. I was just kind of dicking around with them. The fucking bitch, I had my window down about a quarter of the ways. It wasn't down too much. And she leans down her window, and she says, or she rolls down her window, and she yells out, other people would like to have that spot. And it was just like, it just like popped into my head, this response. And I leaned out the window and I said, "What? Your fat ass can't walk?" Oh, and she just like took off again. So, you know, the wife is like, "Okay, well, this was fun." I said, "No, I'm gonna sit here just a little while longer because I got a feeling that she's gonna be back." Well, sure enough, about a minute later, she comes around the corner again. She stops and waits and takes off again. And I thought this was kind of funny. Well, at that point, I finally realized, you know, I should start getting this on camera because I wonder if she's gonna call the police or something because I'm, you know, stealing a spot or something. And it was hilarious. It was absolutely hilarious. It went on for about 10 minutes, I'd say. It was about 10 minutes. And she finally, because I was watching the car, because, you know, it was a minivan. It was a white minivan. So I could see it, you know. And she finally pulled into a parking spot. And it was a couple rows down, but it was a ways down. So when I saw her do that, I pulled out and I went around and I waved to her. I honked my horn first and then I waved to her. And it was the funniest thing. Wife and I were sitting here just laughing our asses off. It was so funny. But the point is I hate people that do that crap. And some of you are out there saying, well, don't worry about it. You know, you don't have to move for them. And other people are saying, well, you know, you were just screwing around with them. And what's the point in sitting there? Well, you know, you're in a public area. There is no time limit on your parking space unless you're in a place that says you can only park there for 5 minutes or whatever. So whether you get a spot that's in the front or the back, that's your spot when you've taken it. Once it's yours, it's yours. You can park your car there overnight if you wanted to. It's all your choice. And just because you're getting out into your car doesn't mean that you're going to pull away right away. So I've made a decision from then on that if I do happen to get a good spot like that, which I rarely ever do, it's not something that I drive around a parking lot for 2 hours looking for the closest spot. I actually like to park away from cars because I don't mind walking. What's the big deal? You're going to spend an hour walking in the store. What's the extra, you know, 50 steps that you're going to have to make to get to your car? Who cares? But from now on, that's what I'm going to do. If I see somebody who's doing that crap and they're putting on their turn signal, I see it all the time. It's not just me. I see it everywhere. I mean, as far out as I park, I see people doing circles like vultures, looking for that one special spot when they could have been in and out of the store, but they're so fucking lazy. Now, if you have a genuine medical condition where you need a handicap sticker, then get one, okay? You know what? That's just what you can do. You tell your doctor your feet hurt or whatever. And for those of you who say, well, I'm overweight and I need a closer spot, well, get a handicap sticker then, if it's really that big of a deal. Anyway, I could rant on forever about this, but it just pisses the hell out of me because it just doesn't make any sense to me. If you're really that bad off where you can't walk an extra, you know, 50 feet, then you need to get a handicap sticker. That's all there is to it, or whatever it's called now. It's not handicap. That's politically incorrect. Anyway, yeah, just thought I would vent a little bit for you guys. I'll catch you later.